What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to give you guys my top 3 short stocks of June. Alright, so before we get into this, I know a lot of you guys understand this already, but when I say short stocks, I mean that I'm shorting the stock. I have put options out on these stocks, and I believe that the stocks will go down. Okay, so also always have to remind you guys, this is only my opinion. I know you guys know that, but I have to remind you, this is only my opinion based on the data and knowledge I have available to me. The reason I make these videos is to hopefully inspire you guys to go on to do your own research in these stocks and companies and ultimately come to your own conclusions. Okay, so that said, one more thing, if you do go on to gain value from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already and want to catch more content like this. I really appreciate it, truly do. Okay, so as you can see here, I have the top 3 short stocks on the left, followed by a brief description of what the stock and company does, followed by a summary of why I believe fundamentally the stock is currently overvalued. All right, and then we have a good old Robinhood mirrored right here. We're going to go over, as we go over each one of these individually, I'll pull up the stocks on Robinhood. We'll look at the charts, and I think this is important in this video just because Robinhood's super simplistic chart, it just shows how well these stocks have done as far as price action is concerned over the recent months. Okay, so that said, let's get straight into it and start with Zoom. Okay, so the first one, Zoom. I think we all know what Zoom is by now. All right, so I'm serious about that. I'm sure a lot of you, if not all of you, know what Zoom is in this quarantine area. It's just a video conferencing app, so like a modded out FaceTime, you can think of it as. Okay, so Zoom was one of my top shorts last month, but I'm still confident this stock has some significant pulling back to do. With the economy slowly reopening and people getting back to work, I believe it will lead investors to believe Zoom's glory days are behind it. I believe Zoom will succeed in the long term, but their stock has seen so much hype and price appreciation in recent months that it is grossly overvalued in my eyes. Also, both Facebook and Microsoft have developed direct competitors to Zoom, which is tough for any company. They also announced earnings on June 2nd. Okay, so again, this stock is overhyped. We can look at it on Robinhood here. This is the 1 year, but Zoom's actually a pretty young company, as a public company, I should say. Okay, so they IPO'd in April of 2019. Okay, so just over a year ago at about $62. We'll give them a fair $62 IPO. They did very well off of the hype. That happens a lot after IPOs. Came back down, and then we get to this year. Okay, so Zoom prior to the crisis was bouncing around its IPO price at about $60, but it's currently up over 110% and is sitting at about it hit a high just last week of $175. Okay, so at its high, it was up over 125%. Okay, so crazy growth. Again, I think Zoom is a good company, and I think it will succeed long term. It has provided a very relevant service for this quarantine era, and it makes sense to me that investors would flock to a stock like this. Again, I think it is 100% more valuable than it was on its IPO date, just based on the state of this world. But I think it has gotten super overvalued, and that as we get back to work, as people are exiting the quarantine and going back to work, and obviously using Zoom less, a lot of investors who did hype on the Zoom train will realize that maybe Zoom's glory days are behind it and the hype will slowly start to fade. Okay, and also they do announce earnings on 6/2. I think a lot of people are thinking that they're actually going to pull in a lot of revenue, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, I could be wrong, but from what a lot of things that I've heard, I know that a lot of Zoom's users, although they're seeing user growth, they're not seeing a lot of revenue generation just because a lot of people it's a free product, right? So they do have a paid version. Their revenue will definitely be higher than it was, again, like this time last year, 100%. But I don't think their profits, because again, they're operating at such a higher capacity now, I don't think their profits are going to be as impressive as a lot of people think. Okay, so that is my first stock. That is my first short stock. I do have Zoom shorts out on right now. Put options on Zoom. Always know that, you guys. My money is backing what I'm saying. All right, so Zoom down. Let's get to the next one, Peloton. And I want to let you guys know that I don't have anything against these companies personally. I actually like all of these companies. I think they're good products. I just think they're currently super overvalued. All right, so Peloton, good day. Let's look at the year. Again, Peloton, another company that's fairly new to the market. They IPO'd at a price of $27. just under a year ago. Okay, so September of 2019 is when they IPO'd. Again, IPO'd at a price of $27 fair value. Been a very volatile stock since then. We saw a low of 19 prior to this pandemic when everything crashed, so it hit $20 about, and it is now doubled since then. Okay, so let me read this to you guys. Peloton is a high-end at-home workout product and subscription product. Okay, so if you guys don't know, it's like treadmills. They sell bikes, very premium products, more than just like an elliptical machine you'd buy at the store or wherever you, Amazon, whatever. And it is a subscription product. Okay, so people pay a very high monthly subscription price to engage in all the workouts and plans and whatnot. Okay, so let's read this. Peloton is ridiculously overhyped in my mind. Trust me, I get it. It's a fancy treadmill and gym class that targets the wealthier audience, and there's definitely a place for that, but not a place that's worth $10 billion. Okay, so when I say that, Peloton's current market cap is at $10 billion. They're not even profitable right now, okay? So, like Zoom, I believe this company will succeed in the long run, but I also believe that it's currently way overhyped and overvalued, and we'll see a pullback as the economy reopens. Okay, so this kind of falls in the same category as Zoom, right? Like very quarantine, like these thrive in quarantine, okay? And as the economy reopens, as people go back to work, get out of their houses, they're not going to want to be in their, I mean, you could make the argument that a lot of people are scared now and they do want to be in their house. And again, I think there's definitely going to be a place for Peloton, but I think there's been so much hype media, and I think way too many people believe that a company like Peloton will continue to do as well as it's currently doing. And again, they're saying a lot of things. They announce earnings not super soon, but this summer. So it'll be interesting to see what those do. But again, if you just look at Peloton stock, it's super high. They're not a profitable company. I honestly think their bikes are way too high tier. I know they are working on a mid-level bike, but I think Peloton is just super overvalued. Just looking at this too. I'm not even going to get into the technicals, but just looking at this, I have a gut feeling that this stock is overpriced, just looking at the charts. Okay, so that is my second put option. Let's get into my third and final one, which is Lululemon. All right, again, I think this is a great brand, but it's just way overvalued. So let's look up Lulu, and I think you guys will definitely agree with this when we look it up. So Lululemon right here, decent day. Again, the whole market kind of looked like this today. Good on the week, good on the month. Wow, look at that. In a year, all new all-time highs. That's crazy, huh? They own so many retail locations that aren't open right now. Okay, so that's even crazier when you look at the 5 year. Okay, so up 5 years, up almost 400%. That is insane. Again, they're reaching new all-time highs on the year, up 65% on the year for a company who owns so much commercial real estate with 0 foot traffic. All right, and I know they're doing online sales. Allegedly, their online sales are way up. But that's not impressive when your entire product is established in retail locations, all right? We could go into another argument that's for another time on why I think commercial real estate is going to see a lot of pain in the near future. I think it's obvious why commercial real estate is going to see a hard time. But again, Lululemon is just so overvalued in my mind. So let me read you guys this, okay? Lululemon is a higher-end athleisure clothing company. Okay, so it's still affordable, but not as cheap as Nike, okay? So it's kind of more mid-tier. Lululemon is on absolute fire. It's recently reached new all-time highs on the belief that the athleisure trend will take over the closets of the entire world as Zoom calls and work from home become the new normal. Like the two I just mentioned, I think this company will succeed, but as the economy reopens, it will open investors' eyes to how overvalued the stock has gotten from all of this quarantine hype. They also announced earnings on 6/10. Okay, so I did want to get this video out as soon as possible because, again, Zoom releases earnings on June 2nd very soon, and then Lululemon is over the coming weeks, okay? So that's pretty soon as well. All right, I want to turn you guys on to these prior to these earnings so you guys can go on to do your own research. Okay, but again, Lululemon, just look at this chart. Again, during this March crash of this year when everything tanked, it hit a low of $140, call it. Since then, and it has over doubled. All right, so it's up 100% from its lows. That's crazy. Again, Lululemon, good brand. I think it'll survive. I think athleisure is a trend that's growing. And I don't think Lululemon is going anywhere. I think it's a strong brand. I think it's good stuff. They make good products. But again, they own so much commercial real estate. I've heard these claims of their online sales doing well, but again, it doesn't warrant. This is a $32 billion company. It just doesn't make sense that it's this high. I think this is just another, again, hype train. And I get why there's hype behind it. I just don't believe the hype. Okay, and we will see that on 610. And it will be interesting, like Zoom. I could be completely wrong with these. You guys remember that. But I just wanted to rationalize my thoughts to you. This is currently what I'm doing with my portfolio. Again, if you guys aren't familiar with put options, I can't imagine you not being if you've watched the video this far. But I do have actually a video on how to short stocks on Robinhood if you want to get familiar with that. So go watch that. I do have a course on it as well. Watch all the free stuff you can prior to getting the course. So check those out if you want to get familiar with put options if you're not already for some reason. And I do have the complete portfolio product of literally every position of my portfolio, so you can see exactly which put options I have on these stocks, which call options I have. There's probably like 40 to 50 positions in that portfolio. I do also update it every trading day and send out an email newsletter explaining what I did and why I did what I did. Okay, so check that out down below. The links are down in the description if you care to. I really do appreciate it. It's a great growing community, and it helps support the channel as well. So yeah, I appreciate it if you guys check those out. And as always, you guys drop a comment down below if you want to talk about any of these. If you think I'm absolutely insane for betting against these what are fabled stocks of the quarantine era, or if you agree with me on some of these and think that these are super overvalued. So definitely let me know down below. Let me know what you're shorting as well. Always love talking shop with you guys. Again, I learned so much from you guys in those comments. Okay, so that said, until next time, you guys, always remember to take action, make waves. Peace. Later.